Hey guys, in this tutorial we'll be continuing with the Python series. We'll be going over uh, passing multiple parameters to functions. So here we'll just start. I'm in PyCharm again, so we'll just say we'll define a main function here. We'll indent and then we'll say print. The sum of 10 and 40 is. So here we'll call the function, we'll call it getSum. So here I'll say def getSum. So we're gonna pass some variables here. So we'll say that getSum takes two parameters. Let's just say it takes val1 and val2. So here we can say sum equals to val1 plus val2. So in Python, just to explain, the multiple parameters in a function are just separated between commas. So you put one comma. I don't think you don't need a space here. It's up to you. I put a space. So you can just put. So if you want to continue with parameters, you could just say like val3, val4, val5. You could have as many as you want. So just separate them with commas. And here you can reference them in the function, so we can call val1 here, we can call val2, we can pass them into the function from another function. So here I'm saying, okay, well this variable sum points to val1 plus val2, so now we've taken the parameters in this, we've stored it in this variable, in this case we're adding them. So here we'll say, we'll just print the answer. So we'll just print sum. So here we can actually just, so we'll call it main at the end. But of course we're not done with this, so we'll say call getSum. We can pass here just like 10 and 40. But the thing is, I believe that works. So if we call main, so if I just run that, save and run. Why is this box up there? Okay, let's put that back down there. What happened here? Okay, so we, nope, sorry, this is out of this. There we go. Make sure to take the indent out, so as you can see it got confused, it didn't know when that's being called. So here we have the sum of 10 and 40 is 50, so in this case we just passed in numbers here. You can do that in Python, you can just pass in numbers, you don't need to store them, you don't need to, so you can just say, okay, well this, so the type here is dynamic. So in this case, after the code runs, basically these types can be whatever they want. Python's lenient like that, so it can be a little confusing, but here we're not saying what these types are. These types can be whatever you want. We're saying, okay, well sum, in this case, well, is pretty much anything. So it's just going to add them. In this case, we entered numbers. You can just enter whole numbers like that if you want. Here we could have said, okay, well, val1 points to 10. Val2 points to 40. I would have probably done this if I could. Would have made it a little bit easier because I'm used to coding other languages which have types, so it would have made it easier for me to do that, but it's all personal preference, as I said in the past. So this works fine. So I'll save that. I'm not going to step through this. This is pretty easy. Actually, maybe because this is a double function. We're passing in two parameters, so maybe I'll just show you guys how that works in the debugger. It's pretty simple. It's just like one. There's almost no difference. You're just adding another one, so it's pretty simple. What happened there? Oh yeah, there's no breakpoint, so I put a breakpoint on main. Control S. I don't think you need to control. You need to save it. It saves automatically. But in like C, I believe you have to Control S it, or it doesn't know. The C compiler doesn't understand what's saved and what's not sometimes. I just save it anyways, just in case. Okay, so where's our debug? Stop that. I think something happened when I dragged that window. I don't know why it was up there in the first place, but let's try dragging this up. Okay, there we go. So here we have our call stack on the left. We're going to step into main, because the function starts at main. Because in this case, because in functions, Python doesn't actually start. Python just doesn't actually start executing there. It just kind of knows what's happening. The code actually starts outside the functions. In this case, with a function call. So here we'll have main. We'll step in. We'll say, okay, well in main we have a val1 and a val2. You can see in the variables here we have val1 and val2 equals to 10 equals to 40. So here we have the sum of 10 and 40 is. We'll print a message. We'll print just an alert to the user in this case. We'll step over in the console. You'll see the sum. I know I can't really increase the size of this. I haven't figured out how to increase the size of these, but you might just have to zoom it in on your own computer or phone, whatever. So here we have the sum of 10 and 40 is. If you're on Windows, you can just, or if you're on a laptop, you can just, you might be able to hit, if you're using an actual desktop, I think you can hit Control and then mouse wheel up, or you can hit Control and the plus sign on the right, like that far right plus sign with a special number pad above the enter sign. You can hit Control and plus. It should be able to zoom it in for you. Or if you're on a laptop, you can just take your two fingers and put them started close together and then move them away from each other. That should zoom it in. I'm not sure if that works on a Mac because I've never actually had a MacBook before. But only time I ever used Macs were in elementary and high school. Actually, in part of elementary we had Windows computers, but even in university we had Windows computers, which is interesting. That was at the University of Arizona. I went to school in the States for a bit. They had all Windows PCs. At least in the actually that was the electrical engineering department. I'm not sure about the computer science department, but because I wasn't in the computer science program there anyways. In that school I switched to computer science later on. But anyways, once you guys figure out how to zoom in, you can see those variables a bit better than here. So we have so now we're at getSum. This is going to be a function call. So after our output here, the sum of 20 and 40 is. Then we have a function call. So if I step into that, it's going to move to that function. The code flow is going to start at the function definition of this function here. And with it, it's going to pass val1 and val2 into this function. So it's going to say, okay, well, getSum's going to store or hold val1. It's going to take with it and val2, which is 40. It's going to take 10 and 40, which is being held by val1 and val2, and then getSum's going to hold val1 and val2. It's going to take it with it to this definition here when we step in. So now we're in the function definition. It's saying, okay, we've initialized this variable on the fly to point to. Now we've carried val1 and val2 into this function. We've named it val1 and val2 here. In the formal parameters, these are the actual parameters. I'm not sure if Python terms it like that, but that's from Java anyways. So here we have sum points to. So this variable's on the fly. It's now taking sum to point to the added amount of val1 plus val2. So sum's going to point to 50. So if I step over this, you'll see sum change to 50 in our variables here in the debugger. In the debugger console, you'll see 50 is being stored in sum, which is an int type. And then we're going to print the sum. If I step over that to the console, or to the output, it's going to alert the user 50. And then since there's no more code after this, and there's no more function calls, then the program's going to terminate. It's going to end peacefully. And we'll get an exit code 0, which is just no system error. So there you go. We'll move on to the next function, the next code here. So in this case, we can pass 2 strings, I believe. So that was a numbers example. Let's do a strings example just in case. Sometimes it can be confusing if you know how to do numbers and you want to know how to do strings too. So we'll just do that here. So we'll just call it def main again. And we'll say, okay, well, we will have a first name. We'll point it to input, which returns a string, so we don't need to cast it, and we'll say enter your first name. And here we'll have last name. Points to input, cast it to enter your last name. And here we'll say print your name reversed is, so we'll reverse it. Or is it backwards? And we'll say here, we'll call the function named, I guess reverse might work. Or we could just call it change name. We could just change string here. Maybe change string. Because sometimes you want to change strings in coding, so we'll just maybe do it. Show you how to change a string. So here we'll say change string. We'll say it takes 2 parameters, str1 and str2. Actually, in this case, we'll pass. You could just pass first name, last name, or str1, str2, whatever you want. That's going to be our function call. We'll leave it commented because it's going to get confused. So here we'll say def change string. We'll say that it takes a first name. Let's say that it takes a. I'll show you. I'll change the names this time just to show you that you can change the variable names. we'll say, okay, well, str1 takes a str1, comma str2, shift semicolon, indent. And here we'll just call print str2 and then str1. So all we had to do was just print them backwards. So here we took the second one first, then the first one, instead of the first one then the second one, like that. So we just reverse them like that. That's all you had to do. Just had to switch them. So you can switch stuff like that if you want. May come in handy later on. So here we'll just call the main function outside the indentation. Here we'll just uncomment that. We're saying, okay, we're calling change string, the function, which is here, or change str. So change str takes two variables. In this case, we're passing it two strings, first name and last name. Then here we're saying, okay, well, we want to print them backwards, and that's it. Don't think I need to step through them. It's the same thing as numbers, but okay, maybe I will, just in case. So I'll put a breakpoint there, click the debug icon. So we'll step in there to main, first name, enter your first name. I'll go to the console. We'll just say my name's Code, last name, step over, last name's Bunnies. Tricked you guys, right? You guys said I was going to say invest. So Code Bunnies, and then we'll say your name backwards is. We'll print that. Can't see it. Okay, so there we go. So it says enter your first name Code, enter your last name Bunnies. Your name backwards is. So here it's going to be a function call. So as you can see, we have two variables, two strings, one code, one bunnies. Saved at different memory locations, of course. It doesn't show us the memory locations in Python. Though. So here we'll say, so we'll step in. We'll step in to change str, the function call. So when we do that, it's going to move to the function definition. It took first name and last name with it, so it took Code Bunnies. So first name points to code, last name points to bunnies. So in this case, str1 points to code, as you can see here, and str2 points to bunnies, because it does it in the order that you write the parameters. So in the order, for order 1, or for the first parameter, we passed in first name, that was code. Second parameter we passed in bunnies, that was last name. So now str1 points to code, str2 points to bunnies, then we're going to print them out backwards. Bunnies code. Even better. It's an even better channel name, Bunnies code. So there you go. That might be all with multiple parameters. Let's see what else we have here. So we can make changes to parameters. So we can say we can have a function which takes a parameter, and then we can we have a function that takes a parameter, and we can change it. I think we've done that before in one of those videos where I showed you how to join the local parameters through like globals and stuff. We were kind of getting into it there a couple of videos ago. Actually, no. Yeah, would have been a couple of videos ago because I'm posting these in order. Anyways, we'll just do it again. We'll do a simpler example here. So here we'll say def main, We'll say val points to 100, or say 100,000, 1 million or something. So here we'll say the value is, so we'll print the value. Or the val is. We'll pass in val, the variable val there. The val is, and then we'll pass in val. Then we'll call change val. We'll call a function named change val, which we haven't created yet. We'll say that it takes a val. We'll say that it takes a val, and then here we'll say so here we'll say print. We'll call print, and then we'll say the original val was. We'll pass in val. So here we'll say def change val. We'll say that it takes a val. And here we'll say print the val changed is. We'll say val points to like 012, whatever you want. And here we'll say print. Actually, sorry. So here we could say, we don't need this one, to be honest. So we don't need that one, and then here we'll just say the val changed is, and then we'll pass in val. That should change it. Well, after at the end we'll just call main. That should be all. So as you can see, what we did is that we said, okay, well, we have a val here. Oops, I forgot that semicolon, shift semicolon, whatever that's called. Val points to 10 million. Print the val is val, so it's going to print the val as 10 million. Then we're going to call change val. Execution is going to go here. Sorry, it's going to pass val. It's going to take val with it. This val. You can say, okay, well, this change val takes a val. And it's going to say, okay, well, that val now points to this val. Now points to 012. Then we're going to print the val changed as 012, and then that's it. So I don't think I need to walk through it because we've walked through them a bunch of times. Okay, what happened there? Oh, it doesn't like that. Python doesn't like the 0 there. That's interesting. Okay, so the val is 10 million. Okay, so what happened is, excuse me, so we have the val is 10 million. That got printed there. And it says the original, then we called, sorry, change val, which said the val changed is 12. Then it said it prints the original val was 10 million. So there you go. We'll move on to the next one. Keyword arguments. So keyword arguments demonstrate how arguments are passed by position to parameter variables in a function. I think we kind of just did that. So we'll just go over this example here. Excuse me. So we'll say, we'll just start out, I guess we'll just start over here, so we'll just delete all that. So we'll call def main. So we can just, in main, we're just gonna call a function that just says get interest, which it doesn't know what it is, so it's throwing an error basically. So here we'll say it's gonna take a rate points to 0.05. So you can do this in Python. You can just you can pass parameters like this instead of saying, okay, well, we want a rate which points to 0.05, which I prefer to do it this way, but then you could pass in rate here as we've done. But in Python you can also do this, so you can say, okay, well, we have rate points to 0.05, comma, periods points to 100. We could say principal points to 10 million. I think that's 10 million, not sure, whatever that is. Okay, so here we'll go. So we got show. We're calling get interest. We're passing these parameters. So if we call def show interest, def get interest. So what we're calling def get interest, here it's going to take a parameter. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to change them backwards here. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to put principal first. So we're saying, okay, well, the three parameters we're doing backwards in this case. Then we're going to say, okay, well, principal rate. We're going to pass in principal rate and then periods. And here we'll say interest points to principal principal times rate times periods. And then we'll have someone here at the end of that. I will say print the interest is we'll call format. Then we'll say we'll pass in interest, format interest to the string format modifier, I guess, is comma dot to f. It's always comma dot in the format string. That should be good unless I mess something up there. Did I mess something up? Function name should be lowercase. Where did I put that? Nope. Indent expected on line 2. I think it's waiting for this function here, maybe. Let's try getting rid of that here. There we go. So we got different color scheme here. Is that like a red? I think when you pass in parameters like that and you add the values in them, they go red in PyCharm, which is cool. Color schemes, I guess it's not bad. I think could be better. Think of like actual snakes, like colors of snakes or something. I guess snakes are all kinds of colors, but it's alright. So here we'll just go with the calling the main here. So notice in line, what line is this? So in this line where we pass the arguments, where we call get interest, we pass these arguments that are hard coded into the function. So the order of the keyword arguments does not match the order of the parameters in the function header, which is here. Principal periods rate, principal rate periods. Because a keyword argument specifies which parameter the argument should be passed into, its position in the function call does not matter. Yeah, I don't think it would make a difference here. We are just multiplying them. Because these names are different. We could have named them. I think it's different here if we just go principles. No. Is there an error here? No, that's yeah, that should be like that. Principles. What happens if I change it? Okay, so I think maybe you can pass them like that in Python. You can, so the name is, so I think it takes, perhaps it does take the same name. Unresolved reference. Okay, so I guess when you pass parameters like this in Python, the name has to match in this case. Can we verify this? So the definition here again, the order of the keyword arguments does not match the order of the parameters in the function header because the keyword argument specifies. So this is called a keyword argument when you, I guess, when you add them, when you initialize them in the function. A keyword argument specifies which parameter the argument should be passed into. Keyword argument specifies which parameter the argument should be passed into. Okay. So we can verify this ourselves. Don't need the Python docs for this. So how we can do this is first let's print it out. So this is the interest. So how can we do this? What's the best thing we can do here? So we can say, okay, well, we have a main function. So we have these parameters which are so their values are basically passed in with the parameter. As you can see, we're initializing them as we pass them. So here, let's print principal then. So we can check, but we can say, okay, we want to print principal. We want to print rate, and we want to print periods. So let's run that, save it and run. That should tell us what we want. So principal is So okay, so in this case when you initialize them like that in Python, then if you initialize the variable in the function parameters like how we did here, this red and blue, if you can see those colors, I think you can. So we're saying, okay, well in Python, well they do it like this. They say, okay, well we have a variable which points to a value. In this case, it's a float, and we in the function call, these get actually carried to the names themselves. So if we put s's here, we get errors because it's like you have to pass those names exactly. So I guess that's a cool thing that maybe that can come in handy that other languages don't have. Like for example, Java, C, C++. You can't do that, I believe. So perhaps it's a handy thing that other languages can't do. This can, so maybe it comes in handy. It's not really that big of a deal though. I mean, you can just initialize 3 variables and pass them here. Maybe it's handy. It's a little bit more lenient in that case. So here we're printing the principal, the rate, and the period. So if you want to print them, let's see. Sorry, did I do that correctly? In get interest, principal rate, and then periods. Okay. So principal rate. That's fine. We just multiplied them. So can we double check that so we could say we want to do it in the exact order that it was. So we'll go rate, periods, principal. We're still not convinced that we can do that. Did I spell that right? We're saying okay, we want to check again. Nope, doesn't like that. What happened there? I can't see what that says. Object has no attribute principal. Did I spell something wrong? Principal. Prince, P-R-I-N-C-I-P-A-L. Oh, sorry, I put a period there. My fault. Okay, so let's reprint that here. So we got our rate equals 0.05. We got our periods equals to 100. And then we have our principal, which is 10 million, I think. So we're still not convinced. We just want to change it one more time. Let's just print them like this. So what are we doing here? So we're checking that, okay, well, principal, so it has to be the same name. So basically we can see, so what are we checking there? Is we're checking if these variables have to match these names exactly. In Python, I believe, as we said, if you initialize a variable to a value in a function or a parameter or argument, the name of the function definition actually has to be the same. So as we said, if we go principals, it doesn't know what that is. So finally we can show that once again, if we initialize rate to 0.05, go periods points to 100, and we say principal points to 10 million. And if we take these out, the values in the function parameters, so rate points to 0.05, periods points to 100, principal points to 10 million. Then in this case here, now we can change the names. I think we can. Should be able to. This isn't showing us anything, is it? Okay, sorry. So yeah, I think that is that. I'm pretty sure that's so. It should be fine now. But just to go back, could I have gone principles, rates, principles, rates, periods? Would that have worked? Principles, rates, periods. Rate. They have a rate, and then we have our periods, and then our principal. And here, I think it might actually work. So we have principles, rate, period. Does that work? No. Get interest. Type error. Get interest got an unexpected keyword argument rate. What's wrong with that? I mean, I think we're on the right track here. What was it talking about? Principles times rates times periods. Print. Yeah. Rate points to 0.05. Yeah, that should be. Yeah, so I think it doesn't so as we said, the name has to be the same. In this kind of function, you have to pass the names the same. So it only likes so rate has to be rate. Principles has to be principles. Periods have to be periods. As we said. Sorry, period has to be period. And it doesn't like that. What's happening now? Try that one more time. Had an S there. Just to finally just make sure that it doesn't, it actually cares about the names. Yeah, is that it? Rate, period, principal. Now we've added an S here, principles, rates, periods. Now calling principles, rates, periods. Yeah. Type error, get interest, got an unexpected keyword argument rate. So yeah, so I think it looks like we've verified several times that it needs to be that the names, when you initialize the variables to values in the function parameters in a function call, the name has to be exactly the same for some reason. So it kind of makes it has its pluses and negatives. I mean, you can add a value into parameters like that, but in this case they have to be exactly the same, which can be slightly confusing because in normally they can be whatever names you want. It just has to be the same order. But in this case, the order has to, in this case, for the order to be different, the names have to be the same. So I guess it has its ups and downs. But anyways, we're just gonna end it there. Thanks for watching. If you guys learned something, you guys like the video, you can give me a thumbs up to support the channel and subscribe to the channel. If you like the videos, if you like programming, if you like coding, if you like investing, trading stuff, trading and investing, coding, investing, coding, trading stuff, subscribe. Lots of valuable information. More languages coming soon. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.